Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. In this video today, I want to talk about TSM. Like I've said before, they're always a team that everyone is going to have an opinion on. And I really think that even though I've been very, very critical of them this past offseason, I really thought that so many of the moves they made were very risky with pretty low ceiling and pretty low reward potential. And I've just kind of been saying how I really hated their offseason. I made videos about how they were finished, how they lost the offseason, all that stuff. And I think a lot of that came true in some ways, even way more so than I ever thought was possible. And I was very, very critical of them. But now I acknowledge that, hey, we can't change the past. We are where we are. And I think overall they've done an okay job since then. I don't think that this mini offseason went that well for them, but they were in a very, very tough spot. And I don't really think it's too fair to, roast TSM or judge TSM too much, at least until next offseason. For now, I think TSM just needs to, get through 2022, put this year behind them as soon as they can. But I really do think that this offseason, they've made one major, huge mistake that isn't for sure going to be an awful thing that they did or for sure be a major mistake, but I think it is. But in the next coming years, we will find out for sure. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video today. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Help us run those numbers up a little bit more. That would be absolutely insane. Hey, seeing the subscribers go up, is always a good feeling. It makes all this just really, really cool and really fun. And we have a ton of awesome videos coming in the near future. And I hope you guys check those out as well. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, like I said, TSM's in a weird spot. They finished so low in the past offseason. They spent a bunch of money to do so as well. Reggie said they were a top 5 or top 3 spending team. I don't even know, but they spent over $1 million on the buyouts of Kaido and Chenny. And this is already while the team was talking about cutting back spending, trying to build for the future. Reggie's been saying how spending more and more on the LCS team doesn't even make sense because the LCS doesn't even make that much money for TSM. It's like 10 to 15% of their revenue or whatever. So why would they spend all this money? And then even the money they did spend didn't work out at all. It was an absolute disaster. There was drama, there was controversy, and there was losses after losses after losses on the LCS stage and on the Rift, obviously. Now, towards the end of the year, they did turn things around a little bit, and they ended Spring Split okay, which kind of gave people some hope for the summer. But then when TSM has to go back and start making roster moves and roster changes for the summer, obviously they're not going to be able to spend that much money after they already didn't want to spend money, and the money they did spend went very, very horribly. That's going to be tough to, go to Reggie and be like, hey, Reggie, can we have some more money? I know we pretty much lit all the money that we spent last offseason on fire, and you really don't even want to spend money in the first place, but hey, give us a little bit more money. And I think you have to look at the offseason for TSM in that context. And also just looking at how many players were even available in this mini offseason and understanding that there weren't a ton of players that were going to make an immediate impact. I don't really know if there was a combination of players, like realistically, that TSM could have got that would have made them a world's contender for the summer split more so than they already are now. Like, it's possible TSM could make it to Worlds. I think it's very, very unlikely, but it's still possible. And, if they got like Jensen and I don't even know who else, like, could it have changed his team around too much? Like, probably not. But one of the biggest rumors of the whole offseason was obviously Bo to TSM, but then we got this. It was from the TSM subreddit, saying that Vitality signed Bo. And this was really an up and down roller coaster throughout the whole offseason. It was reported first that, hey, Bo and Maple are going to North America together. And first people were like, okay, well, TSM has Spica, so it must not be TSM. Maybe it's Dignitas. Maybe it's one of these other teams. I didn't really ever think that made a ton of sense. Obviously, since Dignitas already has River, he's already doing pretty good. I don't think that they would have just, got rid of River after one split. Even for a guy like Bo, I just don't think that made a ton of sense for a team like Dignitas to do. Obviously, I think Bo would be probably a long-term upgrade, but maybe a short-term downgrade if he could even play right away or whatever. But then the rumors started heating up about TSM and Bo. And I can almost confirm for a fact, we have heard from multiple different sources at this point that the TSM did talk to Bo and that TSM was even potentially close to signing Bo. That's something that especially Doinby had been saying a lot. But then we heard that things fell through. We heard from Wooloo and Doinby and all these other people that Bo was having some trouble with visa. He was having trouble in issues getting out of China, and that was looking worse and worse. Doinby went as far to say that, hey, this thing's looking bad. He kind of missed out on all the spots. Where else can he go? There's nowhere for him to go. Maybe his career's over. Maybe this year's over for him, whatever. And then, it kind of sucked for TSM fans. I really think Bo would be a huge pickup for TSM, especially at this time. I think he checks all the boxes that TSM is looking for. I think he could be potentially cheap. Probably not cheap. I mean, he's decently expensive. I'm assuming he had a buyout from FPX, and then his salary is probably decent as well. But when you take into account all of the match fixing scandals and the stuff going on behind the scenes, the fact that he can't really go to a lot of Chinese teams, if any Chinese teams, or probably even any Korean teams, I'm sure that lowers the price a lot, and you're definitely getting a discount on how much he would have been otherwise. For somebody of his talent, his pedigree, and his potential, you're getting him at a discount. He fits your long-term plan. I don't know exactly how old Bo is. He's like 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there. So he's a cheaper budget option of a guy who's a legitimate blue-chip international prospect that also is a prospect. He's fitting your playing towards the future. He's also a Chinese player, which fits in with team-speaking Mandarin. Like, he checks all of the boxes for TSM. He even has the drama and the controversy of the match fixing stuff, which obviously a lot of people have memed fits right in with TSM. But whatever, if the visa issues were a big problem, if he wasn't even able to get out of China, all that stuff, and that's why TSM decided to pass on him, that's fine. But then once he is signing with Team Vitality, this is where I think things get from, hey, maybe TSM gets a pass if they couldn't have got anything done. There's nothing they can really do about that, whatever. But once he signs with Team Vitality, then TSM, you kind of loses all those mistakes. The top comment here. Sounds like Bo isn't even playing this year. He literally got signed next year this early. Maybe TSM wanted to play this year, and that wasn't a possibility. Now, maybe, and that could be, and maybe TSM did want him to play this year. Maybe TSM was going to bring him into their academy team, which I don't think they were, because they already have TakeOver and Mia in Academy. No, maybe they weren't going to sign Mia if they got Bo, or maybe they were going to keep TakeOver, or maybe they were going to kick TakeOver or something like that. I don't know, but they didn't really have a ton of spots in their Academy anyway. They probably weren't going to play him on the main roster either. What, were they actually going to bench Spica? Like, maybe they were, but I don't think many people think that they were just going to bench Spica to play Bo right away, because I think maybe some people are still holding out hope that they could have got Spica. There was also some rumors that maybe TSM was like shopping Spica. Maybe there were some other LCS teams interested in him, but then Papa Smithy kind of shot a lot of that down, saying, hey, Spica's probably only going to go to one of the top 4 teams. But this is another thing, like, hey, maybe if Bo couldn't play this year, then maybe TSM didn't want him. I would argue that would be absolutely idiotic, and 2, probably just not true, because there's not really a great place that Bo fits into 2022 TSM, but also if you're TSM and you're claiming that this is a 3-year plan or whatever, and you just finished last place in the LCS, then who cares if he can play in the summer split of 2022 if he's going to make your team better in 2023, 4, 5, and beyond. So I think that's kind of a weird take, and I think that's very, very strange that that's the most upvoted post on this. But hey, that's the TSM subreddit for you. This guy says, unfortunate IMO 2023 TSM Bo is something I could really get behind. Best of luck to him and us, and I totally agree with that. And then I guess this one is more upvoted. I don't know why this one isn't at the top, but this one is more upvoted. This is the post I want to talk about the most. He said, so clearly getting him out of China wasn't a problem. During that time, this is 2022 summer, Bo will develop as a substitute while acquiring his visa and learning English. And somebody said, so maybe this was not something that was acceptable to TSM. And I think that's weird. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. This comment sums it up best, and this really sums up my thoughts and opinions. I can't see how that wouldn't be acceptable for TSM, though. Spica's contract is up in November. This is pretty much a perfect scenario, and he hit the nail on the head, 100%. Again, maybe Spica is going to re-sign. Maybe Spica is going to stay. I don't think many people really think that or believe that at this point. Again, I've said this in a ton of videos before. Spica won the MVP in 2021 summer. He was then going into a contract year. TSM absolutely offered him a contract extension. There's just no way they didn't. So the fact that TSM and Spica don't have a contract extended means that TSM offered him a contract, probably multiple contracts, and Spica has then either declined the contracts, declined negotiations, said, let's talk about it later. He said something to them that was not yes. And then the spring split happened, which was drama, controversy. We saw a stressed out Spica. We saw a sad Spica. We saw the team suck. We saw a lot of negative things happen, and overall not a lot of positive things happen. And do you think that Spica is now more or less likely to re-sign with TSM? If he already was not re-signing with TSM before, why would spring split have made things any better? And do we expect summer split is going to make things any better either? So I just really think I have no idea what's going to happen with Spica. I have no idea what his options are going to be. I have no idea where he's going to go. And maybe there's a chance he ends up back at TSM just because there's no other better places. But then it's also like the G2 argument with Perks of like, do you want a player on your team who doesn't even want to be on your team? I don't know. But either way, I think even the most diehard TSM fan has to acknowledge that it's pretty likely Spica is going to be leaving this offseason. Again, who knows where he's going to go or what his options are going to be. But then that would leave a jungle opening for TSM in 2023. And if it's not Spica and it's not Bo, then who the heck is their jungler going to be? There's not a ton of great options. Now, you potentially have the opportunity to pick up wherever Spica goes. If he goes to, 100 Thieves or Evil Geniuses or TL or whatever, maybe you have a chance to pick up their jungler. Like, I know a lot of people think Spica's most likely landing spot is Team Liquid. Okay, then maybe TSM can bring back Santorin. Maybe that's an option. Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe there'll be other jungle options out there for TSM. I don't really see a ton of, like, surefire up-and-coming young junglers, North American or imports. I don't think that TSM has a great academy jungler either that they're ready to call up. I don't think they really have anyone that they're developing or that they have their eye on. I don't think there's any upcoming free agents that are like 100% coming to TSM or looking like really, really great options for TSM. So you have Bo, who is willing to sign for your team, to not play, to develop, to learn English, to get his visa, and to be on your team not playing and just preparing for the 2023 season, which seems like in every way, TSM's going to need a jungler. They're looking to build for the future. They would love a blue chip prospect. They would love a Chinese player. They have all this Chinese infrastructure in there already. Bo is everything TSM could possibly want, and TSM's about to have a jungle opening, and they didn't get this done. That makes no sense to me. This is absolutely, I really think, a huge mistake, a huge error, a huge missed opportunity for TSM. And again, Bo is an awesome prospect. Prospects do not always work out. Maybe Bo sucks. Maybe Bo is never reaches his full potential. Maybe never becomes what so many people think he can be, should be, could be, whatever. And if he ends up sucking, hey, great decision by TSM, whatever, they make the right call. But I think there is a very, very good possibility that Bo ends up being a good player, and maybe even a decent possibility he ends up being a great player. And if that does happen, whether that's for Team Vitality, some other team in Europe, some other team in North America, I really think we're going to look back to this mini offseason where I don't think Maple's going to matter. I don't think Mia's going to end up doing anything. I don't think really anything that TSM did in this mini offseason is going to be that impressive or that crazy, 2, 3, 4 years from now. But Bo could be the one that got away. He could be the huge mistake that for whatever reason, we still don't know. DoinB said there was 2 reasons. 1, the visa issues, and 2, some other reason that he couldn't talk about. Whatever that reason is that's holding this thing up, that prevented TSM from getting Bo to having a blue chip prospect ready to replace their franchise player in Spica who's most likely leaving, then this is going to be an absolute disaster for TSM. Now, that's not a sure thing. It's just a maybe. But I wanted to get my thoughts and opinions out to you guys. So that's pretty much it for this video today. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think TSM's making a huge mistake? Or do you think they're making a good call passing up on Bo? Do you think they're going to re-sign Spica? Do you think that there is another awesome jungle option out there for them for 2023 or beyond? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something really obvious. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.